Good day. Welcome to Orange County Talk Radio. Orange County Talk Radio, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Robeson Oil, the house that Service built. Also by Michael Labriola, Landscape Design and Construction of Armonk. They work all throughout the Hudson Valley from their base in Westchester, as does Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth through a fiduciary standard, and by Jaguar Land Rover. They are located throughout the 7-county region of the Hudson Valley, including places in New Rochelle, White Plains, and Mount Kisco, among other locations. This is the Cup of Joe political show. We are joined by Orange County Executive Steve Neuhaus. Steve, great to have you back with us, first of all. And secondly, we seem to, and this is not a knock on anybody or anything right now, but we seem to be inundated with immigrants or migrants or displaced people, whatever term we like to use, with flights coming into the Orange County Airport in Montgomery and Stewart Airport in New Windsor. And this really seemed to be exacerbated by New York City Mayor Eric Adams, lightly, I guess, criticizing the Biden administration about 10 days ago about you guys need a plan if you're going to send people around the country. And it seemed like the next morning you had to deal with these planes landing in Montgomery and in New Windsor.
So, John, always great to see you. I have so much fun being on this program with you. You got a great personality. I look forward to it, honestly. So it's great to be here. Yeah, so this really started like 3 weeks ago. I was out for dinner. 9 o'clock at night, I had a call from emergency management saying, we got a bus of what appears to be illegal immigrant children pulled over near the Orange County Airport. A flight came in. Somebody saw these kids run from the plane to a bus, called it suspicious, thought it might have been sex trafficking. So the local police pull them over. I go out there. The district attorney meets me out there. The county attorney meets me out there. And we're like, what is up? And there was a busload of kids, 13 to 17-year-olds, mostly girls. And they had 3 government contractors, federal government contractors. They said they work for Department of Health and Human Services, and that these kids are part of this refugee relocation program, and they're going to be relocated to that bus, New York City. So they had flown out earlier that morning. They had been on that 10 a.m. from Texas. They were on the side of the road in Orange County close to 9 p.m. at night. So we also had that shooting at Newburgh Free Academy at the same time that's going on. So the district attorney ran up to deal with that in Newburgh. I stayed with the immigrants. We gave them an escort to the highway. I famously bought these little kids Happy Meals. I felt bad for them. They looked scared. I don't know where the hell they came from, where they were going. They didn't have their parents with them. And they've been on a plane for 5-6 hours because I think they stopped in like Michigan, dropped off some other kids or picked nobody knows, then showed up here. So anyway, we got them on the road, and that was the end of it. I had no idea where they were going, who's checking up on them. Are they going to Harvey Weinstein's house? Are they going to a shelter? Are they being adopted by their uncle, aunt? I have no idea. So then, no answers. About a week or so ago, this past Friday, 2 planes we hear. So one of the guys that runs my airport for the county is a military guy, a former Navy pilot for 30 years. So every day you can check and see the number of flights coming into our airport. Sure enough, we see 2 that were flagged out of El Paso, Texas. And we knew they were coming in sometime in the evening. The public knows too, John. So by the end of the day on that Friday, we knew 2 flights are coming in, and there's a crowd of people waiting there. Some pro-immigrant, some anti-immigrant, some wondering what the hell's going on. And I went out there. We had 3 sheriff deputies came out with me, thank God. No state police, no federal marshals, nobody there. And I think they need to be there to make sure this is peaceful, whatever's going on.
So why does there seem to be such a lack of coordination between agencies basically coming out of the federal government down in D.C.?
I think the federal government is purposely trying to keep these flights secret. Look, there's no secret that the country is divided right now, very polarized through all different issues, including immigration. So I get it. But it's not the right way to do business. I run Child Protective Services for the county. If we have a questionable household where the school teacher says, I think this kid is being abused, or I'm worried about this, we have people that go to the house and check and make sure that kid's well-being is followed up on. Who's checking on this? There is no federal office that I know of that does that. So you got a bunch of busloads of young kids. So this second two flights, right? So we had the first flight, young kids. Then we had two more, same thing, boys and girls, 13 to 17-year-old, dumped on two buses. And they told me they were going to Poughkeepsie, Kingston, and New York City. My big concern is a number of them. One is the safety is when they land, like how to transition. I don't need to do this as a county executive, but I don't want to have a crisis and say that I sat at home like other people that we've asked for help and won't come out and help us. So I'm out there with the deputies. They get on a bus. They have their paperwork from ICE, and then they're shipped off to these different places. I'm worried about the future well-being of them. Just today, before I come on with you, I got a call from a local leader that said there's a family that came in here illegally from a country in South America, and the father has a tracker on him from the federal government, can track him for any given time. And this guy is not allowed to work. I get it, because Americans are like, well, these are our jobs are taken away. But you also would like the guy maybe to get a job and not be sitting on the government dole. And here's the deal. The guy doesn't have a check, his first appointment with immigration till 2024. I'm in October of 2022.
That's 2 years down the road.
So what the heck is going on here? So the bottom line is whether you're on the right or the left, John, there's a better way of doing this. And more importantly, be transparent to the American people. They deserve it. So to me, now these kids are going into one of my local school districts. The first time I've actually heard that this actually confirmed and happening, but there's got to be a better way. So they're asking me, so why am I involved? Why am I bringing this up to you, John? In effective in 2 weeks, these four people, the dad, the mom, and the two kids will be homeless, and they don't get an appointment to 2024. So the federal government has got to get their act together and do a better job of this. I got to provide them housing for county taxpayers. Now, we're compassionate and we'll figure things out, but the federal government better get their act together.
Also, too, when we have immigration as one of our top issues, people worry about safety, you talk about people who can't find work and are not going to be allowed to work. What do they do to provide besides being on the government dole? Sometimes people turn to other things, and we talk about crime and bail reform. Obviously, we had a couple of incidents locally recently that make us wonder about crime and about bail reform. Has enough been done, as the governor claims she has, and most claim she has not? We had a shooting involving a Marist College father who came for Parents Weekend from Long Island, was shot and killed in a local motel. And then also, too, we had the incident of a 5-year-old being shot in Newburgh, among others. These highlight what's going on.
Most of these crimes, many of them, will go unsolved. Now, we got the Marist one because it was on camera, and a police officer, thankfully, was right away showing up on the scene. But we're having a hard time in Orange County and throughout New York State to solve crimes because the people that are committing the crimes, the people that witness it, are afraid because they know the people accused of the crimes will be in the door and out a revolving door within minutes, hours, whatever it is, and they're going to come after the people we need as witnesses. And that 5-year-old boy is one of those cases. The shooting at NFA, another difficult case for us to solve because people are afraid to come forward because the criminals are let back out. I am completely disappointed in the governor. Why isn't she showing up here? And more importantly, the attorney general, she wants to beat up the police every 2 minutes. She should have been the next day in Newburgh when we had that shooting in NFA and the shooting where the 5-year-old who almost lost his leg. I don't understand where these guys are. They're great to show up for the ribbon cuttings, but when the going gets tough, they're AWOL. And I think you're going to see a backlash coming in November because of this. Look, I don't care about getting Republican or Democrat, but I'm seen as an operational leader running the county. I'm seeing a massive influx in crime, and I don't see any of these people that should be accountable. Our state senators and assemblymen who pass these backwards laws. It's great to have the jails empty, John, and that letting these criminals out if they're going to be reformed. But if they're going out and crime is on the rise, whatever they tried with this bail reform is not working, and you are jeopardizing public safety because of it. And to hold police and beat them up all the time, which they've been doing for the last couple of years. The police are the most important part of the solution here. And they need to get their act together, these leaders. They need to back law enforcement. They need to go back to the books and strengthen out these laws so we can actually put bad guys in jail rather than coddle them and let them out and create chaos in New York City and throughout New York State.
Orange County Executive Steve Neuhaus joining us here on Orange County Talk Radio. I'm John Marino. This is the Cup of Joe political show. You talk about you don't care if it's Democrat or Republican who gets the job done. We have a key election coming up just a few weeks away in early November, and Tuesday, November 8th. You touched upon Governor Hochul and what you think are her failings dealing with crime and bail reform, et cetera. Lee Zeldin, if he were to be elected governor, and most polls now show this race to be a dead heat, where 2 months ago, Kathy Hochul led by almost 25 points. What would Lee Zeldin do as governor, you think, that Kathy Hochul has not done since her elevation a year ago?
I think that Lee would go right up to Albany, similar to a Pataki type of way, and start getting back these important issues that the Senate and the Assembly need to get their act on, that are going to make public safety safe. No family, I don't care what your background, immigrant, minority, whatever, poor or rich, wants to see this society the way it is. I was in New York City last week. It's a disaster. Homeless people everywhere. There's an easy way to fix this, John. Homeless people in Orange County, if we find somebody, we get a call, we have an awesome team. They'll pick them up, get them a fresh shower, fresh set of clothes, whether it's an individual man or a single mom or an entire family. We'll put them in a place that's going to get them comfort. The next day, they will be put in and they'll be interviewed. Do you need a job? Do you have mental health issues? What's your story? How can we help? Rather than let them sit in their own waste on the side of the street, like you see all over our big cities in New York. When it comes to crime, I think you see Lee Zeldin go up there and say, guys, this bail reform. I know it was well-intentioned. You want to try to help people that maybe had a bad part in life. But sometimes, guys, bad people need to be locked up. We need to get back to the books and start looking at this legislation to look at what's best for society. And I think that's what you're going to start seeing with him. And I think that's what you're missing with Kathy. I get along with her, but I think people are going to vote public safety this November. They might get distracted by some of the other rhetoric, but public safety is a big issue.
Also, a couple of key congressional races in the area, one affecting Orange directly. Assemblyman Republican Colin Schmidt against the Ulster County Executive, counterpart of yours. I know a guy who's a friend of yours, Pat Ryan. And then just above, which affects our area too, Dutchess County and up into the Albany area and further west, the Dutchess County Executive, Mark Molinaro in the 19th District. He's the Republican challenged by Democrat Josh Riley. How important, how key are these two races to maybe flipping Congress to the way you might like to see?
I think they're going to be key, but look, the Dems, I think, are only up 8 nationwide. We're looking at 35 gains. So this happens whether you're a Republican or Democrat. So the Democrats, you don't have to breathe into a paper bag watching me and John right now, because this happened when Bush came in and happened. You know, it's a key midterm elections that always haunts the administration in the White House. So with that being said, Mark Molinaro, Pat, we work very close together, Pat Ryan as county executive. So I'm not sure of Mark's race as much because I don't know his opponent, but I know these guys. I work very well with both of them. Actually, Pat tried to help me last week. I know Colin Schmidt. I think that it's going to be, I think they're both big toss-up races because you have the Democrats on one hand pushing, you see the ads, they're all about abortion and they're beating up because of what Mitch McConnell said. We're going to try to put laws to outlaw abortion. So that's getting them to use that as a key issue. Where you have the Republicans countering on public safety and inflation, the price of gas. Now, historically, they always say, forget the midterm elections. They always say voters vote their pocketbook. And if that's the case, I would be very nervous if I was a Democrat right now, because the gas prices, you saw what happened with OPEC 2 weeks ago. Inflation is going up. I went to a dinner on Saturday night, big dinner, big fundraiser for St. Luke's Hospital, Montefiore, big, sold out dinner. Every person that came up to me, besides saying, hey, how you doing? Asked me about public safety. So I think if that's on voters' minds, that's why you see a lot of the Dems talking about how they're pro-cop now, all of a sudden. So it's gonna be an interesting night on election night.
Here on Orange County Talk Radio, Steve Neuhaus is the Orange County Executive. Let's shift over to some lighter and hopefully brighter topics too. You were at
Teddy Bears and Rainbows.
Yeah, let's see if we can move in that direction now, because the news so far obviously is not good. The Breast Cancer Awareness Month you attended just a few days ago. Tell us about that.
So we have the Woodbury Common in Woodbury in Orange County is one of the big economic engines in Orange County. Wonderful outlets, employs thousands and thousands of people. But for the last over a decade, we have the Breast Cancer Awareness March. And I got to tell you, I've been to almost all of them, unless I've been deployed for the military. I went to the one yesterday, and it was packed. I've never seen a better crowd. We honored a girl named Alicia Zubikowski, young girl in her 30s that had breast cancer and was being treated for it in the middle of COVID. So imagine a young girl getting this, life-changing, and then doing it in COVID, where it's kind of a lonely situation. You can't have visitors. And so she was our ambassador, and she was my citizen a month earlier this year. And she is a 11-time Emmy Award winner for producing these shows, including a bunch on ESPN. So she brought in 3 NFL football players, which generated interest. It was such a great experience, John. They bought local schools like Monroe Woodbury, where I went, and Goshen schools, and a number of other ones, bought their football teams, their cheerleaders, their barbershop quartets, their choirs. So every 100 feet on this 2-mile walk, you had these different groups of people encouraging the walkers. So what a great experience. And it's based, literally, the one thing is about one thing. The whole thing is about one thing: raising awareness, telling men and women to go out there, women predominantly, but men get breast cancer too, but telling them, get your mammogram, get screened, get your checkup. One thing that fell to the wayside with COVID is people getting their annual checkups, whether it's going to the dentist's office or going to your general practitioner for your physical, or if you're a woman to get your mammograms. Get out there and get those checkups now. So it was a great experience. And I got to tell you, John, no matter what you see, the negative stuff in the headlines, we just talk about crime, we talk about inflation. America, believe me, this is a guy that deploys 4 times in the last 10 years. America is the best place in the world. It's a tough economy everywhere. But what we say is we are the best house on the bad block. You want to talk about any other country, I will tell you some of their negatives and what they have vulnerabilities. We still have, this is the place where dreams come true, and don't let any of these headlines, negative, affect your thinking on that American dream.
And Alicia, by the way, is from Greenville, all the way out there on Route 6 by Port Jervis, correct?
11 Emmys. She just turned 40, I believe, and she beat breast cancer, rock star.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greenville and I go way back, because I pointed out before I first got into the business back in '79 at WTBQ in Warwick. And that summer, I was there about 6 weeks when I had to work in the studio with the newly crowned Orange County Dairy Princess, who was from Greenville, Cynthia Iwanshu, back in the summer.
Wow.
Of '79. 16-year-old Cynthia Iwanshu. Years later, about 5 years ago, I was doing the public address at a polling from Dutchess against, I forget who, football game over at the stadium at Dietz in Kingston, and one of the referees was an Iwanshu from out that way, who happened to be
she's related to them
all these years. Yes, all these years later. Yep. Small world.
Yeah, the police chief in Middletown, JJ, is Iwanshu. So great family, and what a supportive. I mean, they had like 50, 60 people show up to march with her. So it's just a great experience, and I am an optimist, and I am so looking forward to the future. And I'm an optimist for one main reason. One, because I have 4 kids, and I worry about them like every parent worries about their kid. But you have to give them encouragement. A lot of people come up to me and say, oh my God, you shouldn't have kids. The society is going wrong. Everything's hitting the fan. I'm like, no. We've been through tough times before. So just read your history. And I am totally looking forward to the future, and so proud of where we are.
And the county has made the history of Orange available online now too, correct?
Yeah. And I just delivered a budget to the legislature. They're now mulling it over. It's the lowest tax rate in 46 years. I was 2 46 years ago. So, financially, Orange County, we're doing well. I said I was in New York City last week. I was in the World Trade Center for about 8 hours reading with our bond evaluators that basically they're the credit ratings, if you will, for the county. And I'm proud of our story, and our future is even brighter.
Also, too, you're hosting a hazmat collection event in early November.
Big stuff. Look, I'm an environmental. I'm an outdoor guy. I love to fish. I love to be out in the woods all the time. So we also need to take care of the environment. So not only are we preserving big swaths of open space and expanding our heritage trail, but we need to make sure that we dispose of especially dangerous stuff like household hazardous waste in the right spot. I closed landfills before I became county executive. It was one of my jobs working for a construction and demolition company. It's not a pretty sight, methane vents and stuff like that. So not only are we collecting it to make sure it's disposed of properly, but John, I'm ready to pull the trigger on putting solar panels on some of our closed landfills. Rather than let them sit and waste, let's utilize them for something that's going to be environmentally friendly.
And when we talk environment and outdoors, I think there's no place better in the world than being in Orange County during the fall. Tell us about autumn in Orange County.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. I was running on the Heritage Trail this morning. I always got to stay in shape still for the military. So I have this routine I do. And I was running this morning. It's gorgeous. The wildlife is beautiful. The foliage is beautiful. We're on the cusp of preserving 350 acres in Sugarloaf. Myself and my team and Orange County Land Trust and the Open Space Institute, we are moving full speed ahead on identifying key properties for the public, for my people to enjoy. The best thing that happened out of COVID is that everybody realized we got to get the heck out and enjoy the outdoors and get away from people. I like doing it once in a while, or maybe enjoy the outdoors with your family or with other people. But I need to provide more of that for my residents. And I am going to that's one of my top priorities right now in the next couple of years is to get and secure more open space and parks for them to enjoy.
And how about picking apples and all the rest at Masker, Pennings, Oaks,
Masker is the best.
All around the county?
I do love Pennings. So you go out there for their cider. And
I'm a Maskers guy.
I like Maskers too, because I go there with my kids. It's great. And I love fresh apples. And I'm a big person that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I believe in it. Soon's is another one. And there's a bunch of other ones that we enjoy every year. It's great. I mean, you can't enjoy more. Rose Orchard, which is right by my house, and my dad goes there once a week. He's probably their biggest customer, and they are a sweet family. All these families are old school families,
right?
And they're actually nice people. Any one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go into Maskers and walk all the way in the back and stand on top of the hill there, and I swear you can see the entire Hudson Valley from on top of that hill.
Absolutely.
And you can't. If you put it on a camera or in a picture, like nobody would believe you. You have to come there and see it for yourself.
I got 28 breweries, cideries, and wineries, and distilleries, and that also adds to that cross-pollination economically of supporting. Let's go apple picking. Let's go wine tasting. Let's get engaged. All sorts of crazy stuff happening. Let's stop and have lunch. Great eateries. So I just feel so much, because where we were, John, 2 years ago and where we are today, how can you not feel better? Look, there are pressures, inflation, the interest rates going up and gas prices going up. And that's definitely a problem for families and businesses, but we're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm. Now, also, too, emergency services during this time of the year. We worry about hurricanes, the effects, and nor'easters, etc. I know you're ready for all.
It's my baby. So John,
you got the jacket on too now, too.
Yeah.
Right?
So on election, I got my night. See, everybody else has like these squeezing things, right? I got a little thing. Somebody gave us squeeze. So you get blood pressure. I got a knife throwing board. That's what that is right there. I throw 3 throwing knives at a given time. That's my stress reliever, my body armor. But that's for the worst case scenario. But let's talk about school shootings, active shootings. I am going to do in the next month the biggest active shooting drill, and it's going to be focused for schools, but I'm going to bring in some of the big businesses too. We're also going to videotape it. I'm bringing in neighboring counties so we can practice. In the military, 90% of my job in the military is practicing and drilling, making sure my sailors and my Marines are ready for the whatever. You're always drilling. So we're going to start doing that more and more. We do that. It's no secret that we do that with the police. We do that with fire. We do that with EMS, and we're enveloping schools into it. Teachers never had to do this 20 years ago. Neither did a lot of businesses, but now we need to be ready. What do we do? Run, hide, fight. What does that mean when you're in a bad situation? So we're going to start practicing with people. It's not a comfortable thing, but it's something that I think that if you're confident in yourself, rather than be a victim, what we do in special forces and in the military is rather than be a victim, let's be prepared for the worst case scenario. You walk into a joint. Where's the exits? How are you going to get somebody out if they need help? Hey, do you know CPR? If somebody falls down in front of you at the Thanksgiving Day dinner table, or if you're out in public, I've had to deliver Narcan. My staff has revived people that have died, and they didn't know that until we got these skills. So the more training I can do for free for my residents and residents of the Hudson Valley, my teams, the other county execs, we're going to start rolling this out, John, because you feel like a rock star, even if the outcome wasn't great. But if you tried to save someone's life, rather than sit around with your hands in your pocket saying, man, I wish I knew how I could help somebody, we will give you the tools to help people.
And you're getting a lot of national TV exposure now.
Yeah. I've been on Fox, CNN, ABC, NBC, Newsmax, you name it. But we talk mostly about public safety and immigration because those are the hot button issues. But I also want people to be confident. Be confident yourself. No matter how old or young you are, or what capabilities you have, you can help people and you can make a difference. And that is the most powerful feeling you can ever have.
And you're going to make an appearance with Tucker Carlson in just a few days.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. And, they ask tough questions. I give them tough answers, honest answers.
And that's going to be Wednesday night, October 19th, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And I've been on Fox and Friends early in the morning. I've been on all different other networks. And, I try to tell people where it's at. I give a podcast in the county. I do one a month with a guest. And we talk about business or, overcoming challenges. I'm doing a prayer breakfast on Wednesday, sold out. And
where is that, by the way?
It is going to be at the barn. Here, this is the author. This guy had 2 life-threatening, Mike Manzari. It's going to be on Wednesday morning, really early. I think it's like 7 or 7:30. And it's going to be at the barn at Villa Bonanza here. So, look, great stuff going on. Tough stuff. Like, this isn't the happy, good ship lollipop. We talk about challenging times. People elected me to be a leader and an operational commander of the county. So we talk about tough stuff sometimes, but and I got to sometimes execute some tough orders to my staff and make some changes, but I'm totally confident. I'm still in the reserves. The military gives me incredible hands-on training. I'm so thankful that I'm able to do that. And I'm so honored to serve with the men and women in uniform today. They are so awesome and they give me inspiration.
I'll catch you on Tucker at 1:00 in the morning on Thursday on the show rerun. I have to be out on Long Island all day in Bridgehampton, Ronkonkoma. I'll be back about midnight or so. I'll catch you at 1 a.m. By the way, I know you have a podcast going. You mentioned that. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I did this. We call it Newcast. And I have business leaders. Like last month, I had a young woman. It's tough to be a woman in business still. You're breaking barriers. She's a helicopter pilot. She has 9 helicopters. She goes to buy a helicopter from Bell, and the guy looked at her and walked away. This woman, she doesn't know how to fly a helicopter. Meanwhile, she's the owner of this business. And so she was on there talking about some of the challenges she overcame. But I have all sorts of great stuff lined up. And I try to give it under 30 minutes. You and I talked about that rule. Sometimes they're 20 minutes, sometimes they're 30 minutes. But I try to give
38, right?
I listen to podcasts when I'm getting ready in the morning. I have something on, like, give me a takeaway. If it's not something I'm taking away, boom, on to the next one. Don't have time. So I try to think about that when I'm picking a guest and when I'm talking to them about what I think my listeners would take away from them.
And there is a new study out that shows that 37 minutes is supposedly the ideal podcast time. And that, like we say, varies here and there.
I got a Navy SEAL I'm friends with. Jason,
talk about.
His name is Lieutenant Jason Redmond. Great guy. He was shot in the face and he has some scars permanently. You could tell he was injured, but overcome guy. So I listen to him. My kids do too. Sometimes he curses, so I got to listen to it ahead of time. But my daughter, who's going to be 13, loves listening to it because he's like, whoa, what's going on in your life? How you can overcome it. Just a motivational. You listen to that in the morning, boom, cup of coffee, you're good to go.
Steve Neuhaus, Orange County Executive. Always great to talk to you here on Orange County Talk Radio. Let's do it again soon.
Honored to be here.
All the best through the autumn throughout Orange County. Again, the best place in the world this time of the year. I'm John Marino, and we are produced by Sharc Creative here on the Cup of Joe political show, Orange County Talk Radio, made possible by a variety of people who work up and down throughout the Hudson Valley, like Robeson Oil, the house that Service built, by Michael Labriola, Landscape Design and Construction of Armonk. Also, Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth to a fiduciary standard, and by Jaguar Land Rover of New Rochelle, White Plains, Mount Kisco, and the entire 7-county region of the Hudson Valley. Catch all of our Orange, Dutchess, Putnam, Rockland, Westchester, and Fairfield County Talk Radio programming on our YouTube channel, Sharc Creative YouTube, and yes, we are now on Apple Podcasts too.